lot has been said about the Amir Locke death in the last few weeks, but what can gun rights groups do about it? So let's talk about what GOA's consistent position on no-knock raids has been. Hey guys, it's Phil with the Minuteman Moment. There is going to be a link in the description below for you to read GOA's full statement on Amir Locke, as well as our amicus brief on the notorious Quinn v. Texas case. In that case of Quinn v. Texas, we submitted an amicus brief to the court with some very direct language about our views on no-knock raids. This court filing for Quinn was way back in 2014. And just to give you a basic explanation of the case, police in Texas raided the home of John Quinn while he was sleeping. They suspected John Quinn's son, Brian, was illegally dealing drugs. But because Brian's father had a concealed carry permit and owned a firearm, police were worried that when they broke down his door in the middle of the night to arrest his son, he may get upset. Go figure. SWAT got what's commonly known as a no-knock warrant and burst into Quinn's home and shot him. What's even more insidious is Brian, the actual subject of the warrant, wasn't even home, and the police were aware of it. The question that the case was trying to answer was essentially, can the government dispel with the Fourth Amendment and execute a no-knock warrant for the sole reason a citizen had chosen to exercise his Second Amendment rights to keep a firearm in his home for self-defense? A comprehensive summary of GOA's answer is no. Specifically, we stated in our brief, the exercise of one constitutional right may not permissibly be conditioned on the forfeiture of another constitutional right. In order to preserve his Fourth Amendment right to have the police knock and announce their presence before breaking down his door, Quinn was required to forego his Second Amendment right to keep a firearm in his home. In other words, Quinn practicing his Second Amendment right to own a firearm made him lose his Fourth Amendment right to due process. In addition to our concern against the constitutionality of how no-knock raids can pit one constitutional right against another, there's also another aspect to consider. The actions of the police nullify the anti-gunners' arguments for gun permits. As we wrote in the brief, Quinn held a Texas concealed handgun license, meaning that the state of Texas had officially certified him as being mentally competent, law-abiding citizen, giving him the state's stamp of approval not only to keep, but also to bear arms. After the raid, the jury acquitted Quinn of aggravated assault on a peace officer, apparently believing that Quinn acted reasonably in self-defense when he accessed his firearm in response to a late-night home invasion. I don't like the idea of going to the state for permission to exercise a right, but hear me out on this argument. What's the point of getting a concealed carry permit and proving to the state you're a sane, law-abiding citizen if they'll treat you like a psycho killer? If the anti-gun argument for demanding gun owners seek a permit to prove to the state they aren't criminals, then why did the police treat a permit holder, like Quinn, as a criminal anyway? Now let's bring this back to another lawful citizen and concealed carry permit holder, Amir Locke. According to our own statement on the matter, GOA is not a police reform organization. However, when the police actions conflict with Second Amendment rights, GOA will not hesitate to insert ourselves into the public policy debate. This is why we're speaking out. While the video does appear to show he had a firearm in hand, that is not an unwarranted action on someone's part when they're woken up in the middle of the night to loud shouting. Not to mention the fact that we've seen other cases where home invaders pose as police to get the upper hand on their intended victims. GOA is strongly committed to protecting people's right to defend their lives. With our review of the currently available facts, we are very troubled and saddened by the killing of Mr. Locke and call upon legislators to ban no-knock raids where no life is in imminent danger. As I've stated before, GOA has always been and will always be there to fight for your rights. We are no compromise. No NFA, no GCA, no NICS. We've also put our money where our mouth is and opposed no-knock warrants. And we're going to continue to push to make sure every citizen's right to keep and bear arms is not infringed. Thanks for supporting Gun Owners of America so we can continue our tradition of getting elected representatives to not compromise on your right to keep and bear arms. You can become a member by clicking on our website in the description below. It also really helps if you like this video and share it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.